All right, we're fighting in the breaks here, and we continue with our greater. You were making a great point off the air. I'd like you to make that.
The one thing that I think is you look at this case, this is the perfect case to look at in America where you really, really despise the verdict. But what you like is the process, because the process, in fact, shows that anybody out there who is accused can stand before a jury of their peers and be acquitted if they're wrongfully accused. See, Mike, you're shaking your head, but if somebody comes after you politically for your show,
it's not. But
you have the ability to be acquitted for that.
I have a 2-year-old little granddaughter, Lily Denise, and I'm telling you what, I see her little face, and I think if that, God forbid, unthinkable would happen to her, I don't know how I could survive knowing that her murderer got away with it. They're not going to prosecute anybody. It's over. Like your guest said earlier, it's time to move on. But no justice for this.
I don't like the idea of moving on.
And the big question is she going to be able to profit from this? Or is it going to be like, which I think is probably more likely like O.J. Simpson, who became this really pathetic figure who ended up back in the criminal, a pariah, and ended up back in the criminal system.
She wants to have a baby.
I know.
Yeah, that's
a good thought.
Social networking site that you really want to go to try and find that data. I'm more worried about her wanting to have a baby. I'm worried about the guy that would actually date her.
Let me ask you this, because if they were at negligent homicide, I think they would have had me. In other words, if they didn't overreach, which prosecutors do all of the time, and in other words, here's the negligence. The negligence that says she didn't report it. That's and there's even a push now to have Kaylee's Law, which would mandate you have to report a missing child within 24 hours, which I don't think is necessarily a bad law, but I think most people would do that. Or the fact that she lied in obstructed justice in the case.
I called a friend of mine who is a prosecutor today and talked to him about these types of cases. And he told me that when you sit and you do these, the one thing you have to sit and think about is going in on the first day of the jury. Is the jury going to somehow bond? If they're going to be there 3 weeks, they're going to get some familiarity with the person. And will they, in fact, convict in a capital case on circumstantial evidence? And he said more likely than not, when they would go into these cases, they would ask for life sentences, negligent homicide, some of these other areas, then rather than go for capital murder.
But Sean, you think she had something to do with it, right?
I think I did not reach that standard, which I think is high.
Right.
Not beyond any doubt.
Right.
A reasonable doubt. And I thought I watched it and watched it and watched it, and then what really brought me to this conclusion is my very strong belief in constitutional rights, presumption of innocence, the burden of proof, the high standard which says beyond a reasonable doubt. And I thought the defense very effectively contradicted and impeached all of the theories which were all over the map. They never gave us a cause of death. They never put anybody at the scene. Every issue from the shovel to the smell was contradicted by other witnesses. And the idea that you could use new forensics, not scientifically accepted, did not persuade me.
On some level, you know, you can say that the prosecution committed the real crime here, because if even the juror, who's the one juror, we've had the alternate speak out, but now we have this one juror saying sick to her stomach to have to.
But she also, but that's the point. She saw the case I saw.
But she saw the case, but she
These are
also
good people.
clearly
well, you
thought
don't know that.
She clearly thought that Casey Anthony had something to do with
it. If they start getting paid off,
why are you cynical and saying they're dopes? You called them dopes. No, that is insulting to them.
It's insulting that somebody got away with murder, Sean. I believe that with all my heart. I mean, I really do.
I know you believe it, but listen, Mike, we have a constitution. We have a system,
and we can convict people based on circumstantial evidence.
You can, and it happens all the time. But I thought their case fell short of that standard.
I think your segment tonight was brilliant about the CSI effect, and I think people are so
I don't watch
wrapped up in
CSI,
that.
by the way.
Well, I don't either.
I do watch Gary Sinise.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. All right.
Here I am disagreeing with Hannity. What a way to spend my night. Great.
You know, it's funny because I'm trying to explain to people what is most important here is that we better keep this standard. Because this is what separates us from other countries.
The rule of law is what we have to worry about at the end of the day. We can hate this verdict.
And we do.
And we do.
Broke.
And we do. But we have to still rely on the rule of law. Mike, it may be broke at times, but it's still the best system
Mike,
that we have.
it's not broke, it's imperfect.
Well, yeah, and those imperfections lead people to get away with murder.
Sometimes, but can you think of a better system?
Professional jurors.
No.
Yes.
No.
Why? What pay people? The judges are professional. The bailiffs are professional. Why not professional
that's
juries?
Not the answer.
That's not a
the answer.
jury
The
of
answer
our
in this
peers.
case, that's not
It's a jury
it's a jury of our
all
peers.
of you
That's a
just-
bad idea.
You're all turning on me.
That's a bad idea.
Thank
Gallagher.
you.
You hear
Oh,
that?
great.
Bad idea.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sean. That's
All
great.
right, guys,
Gotta
thanks
come
for
here.
being with us.
Thanks,
And,
Sean.
I do
be here.
hope we get
Thanks.
justice for that little girl.
You bet.
That is all the time we have left this evening. Let not your heart be troubled. Greta's next, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for being with us.